guys, so yes, I jumped on the fidget spinner bandwagon. On school placement, I literally confiscated so many of these fidget spinners and I ended up playing with them, and somehow I ended up bulk buying 6 of them off of eBay. I will link them down below. But I was looking for Halloween ones and all I could find was a bat one. So alas, I thought I'd do a DIY project and turn these into slightly more spooky ones, as these are kind of actually Batman themed ones. So all of these are going to be Halloween designs. So what you need to do this is of course some fidget spinners. I did have 6, but it has gone down to 3 now. So I will be personalised these 3. You'll need some paintbrushes to do this, and I painted them with acrylic paint because it sticks really well. I actually buy my black and white acrylic paint separately because I use those up the quickest. And also an optional step would be to varnish these. I don't bother doing it in this video, but if you want it to last longer, you could always add some varnish to them. So I'm going to start with the black one, but I do also have a red and like a silver one as well. But the black one, I've been looking forward to doing this design since they came through the post. So I thought I'd start with the black one. So with this, I was kind of going for a almost realistic bat design. It's going to be really simple, just black and white. So I'm going to start with outlining the kind of wings. And if you imagine like a bat's bone structure in its wing, I was kind of going for that. It's pretty hard to do with the Batman logo, so I kind of had to freestyle it. It was a little bit of trial and error. I did also paint its tail and paint its eyes as well. Its eyes looked a little bit misshapen, but alas, this is not an issue because you can go over it with black paint and make any kind of adjustments really, really easily, which is a great thing about acrylic paint. I tried to make sure the wings were somewhat even and symmetrical, and I did go over with a second layer of white just to kind of touch up any little black bits which were showing through. And as you can see, using a black acrylic paint, you can just fix any little mistakes. I did add some fangs. Now bear in mind, anything you paint in the middle will stay still, so if you don't want it to move, that's fine, but with this I have to just hope that they line up. So this second design, I'm adding a bit of orange to it. I'm doing a very thin layer. Now I'm going to show you the beginning of this and I'm going to come back because I go and leave this orange paint to dry for a bit because I want to be able to see those kind of ridges and details underneath when I'm doing my next bit of the design. See if you can guess what it's going to be. Then once I've left this one on the side to dry, I get the red one. Now I wanted to do a cat bat, but doing this with the kind of fixed Batman logo, again, is really, really difficult. So I thought I'd just do a white cat with black bat wings, if that makes any sense. I started off by just doing its face and using the whole centre bit as its body. I then gave it really long arms, but it ended up looking like one of those torture devices where you kind of stretch someone out and then spin them around in a circle. So I made their arms a bit shorter. I then, of course, where would we be without cats without green eyes? So I added some green eyes and then used black to kind of give it a bit more detail. And then I took a really thin brush and some orange and made some claws. Now once I made these claws, I realised it probably should have some whiskers as well. So I went back again with the same paintbrush and gave it some whiskers, and then I finished it all off with a little red nose. And I painted over its tummy again just because a little bit of black was showing, and I went around the edges. Now you can actually buy like interchangeable centre sections, but come on now, we're working with a budget, so I just kind of painted it white. So going back to that second one, I added another layer of orange, and you guessed it, I was turning these into little jack-o'-lanterns. So I did like a regular pumpkin face with the triangular eyes and the zigzag mouth. I did the same on both sides, but you can spice it up a little bit if you wish to. And then I finished it all off by adding some little green stalks. Very simplistic design, but I really, really liked how it looked. At this point you can add a varnish if you feel like you do want to varnish them, but I really didn't feel like it was that necessary. I then left it some time to dry. The acrylic paint doesn't take too long, but because you're going to be like handling these, I just didn't want them to be gloopy or wet. So once they were dry, what you can do is just take your finger and lightly press on any bits that look potentially like they are thicker kind of glumps of paint. And if those aren't showing up in your finger, then they are fine. So now what I wanted to do is just to test them, because I've seen a few people customize things and they don't spin as well as they did originally. So this bat one, which is definitely my favourite out of all the designs, I have to say span perfectly. And oh my goodness, this shot, I cannot believe I got this first time, but wait for it. ta-da, it landed in the perfect place. I was so pleased with that. And then this cat one, I have to say, out of all of them, doesn't spin for as long, but I have got paint in that little groove, which I was trying to avoid, but you can't always control where paint goes. But it still spins really well, just not as good as the other ones. And then this one pretty much had no difference in its spinning time, just because the paint was nowhere near the actual bit that moves. So these are my fidget spinners. I feel like they're very spooky and I'm really pleased with the outcome. If you guys do have a go at making these, please do put them on Instagram or something and tag me. If you've got any questions, comments, please do leave them below. If it's sunny where you are, I hope you're enjoying the shade, and I'll see you next time. Bye!